Welcome to Queernecks, the podcast that puts the yeehaw in y'all means all. I'm your host, Beck.
And I am your host, Dash. Welcome to today's episode.
I'm somewhere between hot and cold now because, when you put on a bunch of layers to walk outside in 10-degree weather, you kind of also are going to sweat if you walk very far.
Our heat won't kick on, so we're living in space heaters right now. We have to have somebody come in Monday and fix it.
Monday?
Yeah, we have to clean the apartment before we can allow somebody in. So,
that's a big chore for me this weekend as well. I'm feeling kind of like, didn't anybody, like your mom and your grandma, give you that advice of always wear clean underwear in case you're in a car accident?
yeah.
That's how I feel about my house going into this surgery. What if something goes wrong and somebody has to come in here? What will they think?
Yeah. Shanna, we are both ADHD, so we clean up on the weekends, and through the week it just gets trashed. Just shit everywhere. I use the back of the couch like my personal closet, and that doesn't help anything.
Yeah, I've got all of my coats and overalls hanging on a door down here in the living room. You'll never guess what's behind the door.
What, a closet?
Yeah. We're not messy because we're lazy. We have executive dysfunction.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
I'll walk past the closet to hang my shit on a door.
Yeah, my house isn't dirty. It's just cluttered.
Mm-hmm.
Our apartment is not big enough for all of our stuff. And so there's not room for, not everything has a place. And so where do you put that shit? It just ends up on the back of the couch.
I lived that life for a very long time, and I always thought it was a space issue for me. But now I have a 3-story house, and things are still in boxes, from when I moved in. Granted, I don't have shelving or where am I going to sit this stuff that makes any more sense to me, who lives alone with ADHD, than in the box it's already in. It's contained. I know which box has what in it.
Right. We thought we were only going to be here for a year, so we never unpacked. And we were the first people to live in this apartment. So when we moved in, she was like, I wouldn't even put stuff on the walls, the landlord lady. And I was like, okay. And so we haven't put anything on the walls, or we don't have. And when we downsized, we went from having a full apartment full of stuff to one truckload because we had to move it 250 miles away. And then we got a bunch of my mom's crap added into it. So we were up to a bursting full truckload now. And so we put most of that in our spare bedroom, and we just been living the bare bones life for the last year and a half.
Yeah, I did intentionally get rid of just a whole shitload of my stuff when I left Kentucky to save cost on the movers.
Yeah, exactly.
And then those movers lost a bunch of my shit. I'm still discovering things that just never arrived here.
Oh.
Yeah. All my martial arts gear, right? That was probably, it could have been close to $1,000 worth of gear if you put it all together, because the stuff, it really adds up. And even it's not even entirely about the money. You break that stuff in, you buy it with the intention of keeping it forever.
Right.
And replacing it is so annoying. You have to break it back in again. It hurts like hell for the first weeks that you wear it, because it's not comfortable to strap things to yourself and then strike stuff with it.
The lesbian in me is like, sorry.
That's what he, she, they said. All the genders know that pain.
Oh, I got around to reading the Oklahoma girl's essay, and I would have failed her too.
Exactly. I actually saw a clip of somebody asking her that, a reporter, she's been doing all this media stuff, and it's just a bad idea for her to do. I don't know who lied to her. But they were like, and what do you say to the people who have read your essay and point out that it should have failed simply on merit? And she was like, well, I would say that no, completed assignment deserves a 0. Apparently she's changing her argument from I should have received full points to I should have received partial points because I turned something in. And we know this argument well, right?
Yeah.
Well, because they start there. They start like, "I need an A," and you're like, Did like, "Are you gonna be able to make it out of here dragging those brass balls behind you? Like, do I need to call somebody to help you down the stairs?" And then it's, "Well, okay, what about a C then? Because blah, blah, blah." And then this one always got me because and it was like, many of them did it, like, every semester, anybody who found themselves having to start that negotiation wound up in a place that never made any sense to me, which was, "Well, you can fail me, just don't give me a 0."
Okay.
It's the first time it happened, I thought, "Okay, maybe they've done the math and, like, they think that getting a 60 will keep their grade in the class above failing, whereas a 0 would drop them below." But I taught English. That does not apply. This is your grade.
Right.
An F is an F.
My favorite is, "Can I please do some extra credit?" "Shit, you didn't do the real credit. Like, why would I give you extra to do?" Like, that's
Like, you have
more
some
grading.
backup syllabus just for the people who shit the bed at the end of the
Yeah.
semester.
I had one this week saying, "Well, I can't be here during finals week. Can I take it Tuesday of this week?" I was like, "I have not even written the damn thing yet. Like, what are you expecting out of me?"
First of all, I can't be here finals week.
Yeah.
Have we scheduled a retreat somewhere? Are we going to the
Yeah.
Bahamas for mani
Yeah.
pedis and mai tais?
Yeah.
What if I
And
can't be here finals week? What if I turned to you right now and said, "Guys, I decided I can't be here finals week. Your paper's now due today."
their papers were due last night, so I have 70, well, probably about 60 essays in my inbox waiting to be graded.
I saw a TA on TikTok say he was just gonna stop assigning essays because 'cause they're all AI.
I'm about there. This is probably the last semester I'll do it
Y'all
because
gonna learn. It's gonna
yeah.
be test, it's gonna be paper and pencil in class, just like I did. Like, that was what finals were like when I was in school as an English major, and it wasn't even just the English classes, like, my philosophy courses, you walk in, they hand you one of those blue books, you take your pencil and you sit down and you write for 2 hours and turn in whatever it's gotta be in your head, and you gotta get it out of there into that blue book in that 2-hour span, and if you don't, that knowledge never existed, right?
I remember the dreaded blue book. I haven't had a single while I've been at this university, I haven't had a single blue book exam in any way. But that was grad school. I can't imagine them doing that. Well, I think they might do it more during grad school actually, but we never had to deal with that.
No, I haven't had a blue book since undergrad. But for my master's, we our comprehensive you know how their comps are take home for the PhD program
Right.
there? Like, you've gotta essentially, you've gotta write is it 3 or 4? I can't remember,
I think
essays,
4.
20-page essays over a 5-day period, right? You get the exam at I think it goes live at 10 a.m. on a Thursday, and it's due at 10 a.m. the following Monday,
Monday.
right? Yeah. And that was, like it was awful, but it was also kind of exhilarating, right? You do it as a cohort. You're meeting up like me and Eric were working on ours and we were like losing our shit, right? It was like Saturday at noon and we'd been at it for 48 hours and we were like, "Oh my God, if I'm gonna jump off of this roof." And so we were like, "We're gonna walk across the street to the stone's throw. We're gonna take one shot of tequila, and we're gonna come back and finish this essay." And so, like, you do things like that. You call those audibles in the spur of the moment because you've reached the end of your tether. I know that grad school it contains a lot of what would you call the things like they make you do just so that you have had to do
Torture,
them? Yeah.
experiences.
Yeah, like rites of passage type. You've got to do this because I had to do it things. Grad school is
Yeah.
full of stuff like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, now we're just perfectly positioned to review a movie that a lot of people probably haven't seen. Do you know, like, have all your friends seen Muriel's Wedding?
I think most of them have, but,
Okay,
you know, we were all friends in the '90s when we lived in the dorms together and
right.
that kind of thing. I don't know about my friends that I've made from, like, grad school and stuff like that. It's a kind of an obscure little movie,
Mhm.
but it's great.
Won a ton of awards, though, and a lot of praise from critics of the day, which is unusual, because a lot of times what becomes the more enduring or cult classic type movies are sleepers.
Right?
But everybody was able to see what this one was doing. And I think it's because it executed it so well. Like, it wasn't haphazard. It wasn't like, say, Curse of the Queer Wolf, right? Like, he's just throwing shit at the canvas, and it's it's all stuff he loves, but he's not super concerned with whether we know what he's getting at.
Right.
But the team for Muriel, I just have this feeling that this was all very thought out and curated. Because right away, it's a strong visual composition.
Right.
Like, with that opening scene, all the textures and colors and the ways that Muriel is shown to be completely set apart.
Right.
Before anybody has said a word, we know who Muriel is to her, to the rest of those people. Did you notice, like, what her dress?
Yeah, because she was so different than everybody else that no
Yeah.
wonder the lady recognized her, the floor walker.
Was it leopard print?
Yeah.
She stole a leopard print dress and wore it. Because when they asked the loss prevention person, like, how did you know she was going to be here? She said, I didn't. I'm cousins with the groom, and he told me.
Muriel just has some bad luck.
Well, and I kept wondering about her too, because there's a lot of overarching themes in this that I think we can identify. One of which is moral relativism. Like, she stole the dress. Is that good or bad? Right? Like, are we supposed to make a moral judgment of her actions?
Well, I think she's still a very sympathetic protagonist, even though she is a
Mm-hmm.
thief and a liar, you know? That's what you learn immediately about her is that she's a thief and a liar.
A thief and a liar, yes, but she's still somehow like guileless.
Right.
The things that she lies about are to do with this one preoccupation she has with weddings. And she's got her leopard print dress. The bridesmaids were you dressed like them when you had to be a bridesmaid? Like, this made me think of your Pepto-Bismol pink.
Yeah, it was a lot like that. Mine
Incredible.
it was satin with a giant big bow on the belly or on
The
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 side.
one the one woman, when she walks away after an interaction, I noticed that the shoulder pieces weren't actually touching; they were actually levitating off of her shoulders. They were up by her ears, which is also you can't do that by accident. That's the thing I want to, like, really drive home to anybody who wants to, like, think about film analysis or something. Is if you see something odd, remind yourself that somebody had to make a series of intentional decisions to put that there, and that frees you up to explore what they might want you to know. They're trying to tell you something. But that dress that she had, first of all,
Right?
my first thought was like, I never would have known Toni Collette had it like that. Seen her in all kinds of things, didn't know that those babies were under there. Like, she was giving Jennifer Tilly a little bit for me,
Right?
in that getup, right? It was sort of, it definitely didn't fit her well,
Right.
but, like, that didn't stop it from looking really good on her.
Well, she was lying. It's another part of her lying. Trying to be
Absolutely.
something that she's not. Just like the wedding was a big lie. Like she lies all through it.
Mhm. And her hair, everyone else's hair is kind of like, they had the bride and the bridesmaids and stuff, they had a very, like, symmetrical do. Hers is in this incredible swoopy side ponytail with a gigantic bungee or scrunchie or whatever they call it. The dress itself, I don't know if I'd call it a dress, because it was like a sort of an ill-fitting blazer over some hot pants
Right.
and like black leg. I just couldn't stop taking in this vision. And in reality, the opening scene, this wedding is a very brief one. She clearly she wasn't a bridesmaid, but she sees these folks as her friends. We see the newlywed husband, groom, making eyes with. I did not catch the side characters' names, but one of the bridesmaids.
Right.
And then we follow Muriel. They go off. We follow Muriel through this kind of hectic house scene. We meet her dad, and he's got something wrong with his nose. And then she sees Chook, which is the groom's nickname. I hope, to God's sake, that's a nickname. And this bridesmaid fucking. He's
Yeah.
cheating on his wedding day.
Right.
So right away, the movie is telling us what it thinks of weddings. And I think that's one way that we are told that it doesn't matter that Muriel stole this dress and lied about it, because what's going on around her is like, if we compare these two lies, these two transgressions, fucking somebody else on your wedding day at the reception, or stealing a dress or borrowing it or whatever she was planning to do with it. Muriel understands something innately that a lot of people struggle with, which is that weddings don't have anything to do with love and they don't have anything to do with marriage.
Right.
So then what we're going to explore for the rest of the film is, what do weddings mean to Muriel and why? I can't believe I've never seen this. I'm so glad that you told me about this.
I'm glad you liked it.
It's also broken up into subheadings. So it's the opening, we get the subheading the bouquet,
Right.
because Muriel catches the bouquet.
And that's funny. They're like, "You shouldn't have that.
Whoosh,
Throw it again."
throw it again. And then the person who wanted it, she throws it to her, and then she freaks out because she's single. Yeah, Muriel's like, I did what you wanted, and you're still not happy. We go home to Muriel's house, which describe this for the for the viewers, for the listeners.
I think it's just a middle class. It reminded me of like the Roseanne house. It's very middle class, very the all green furniture and in the living room, and the TV's all about, and the tiny little kitchen. It was just a very middle class, middle to low income kind of house. And they
Hmm.
had the line out back and all that, and
Right. The big aerial style,
yeah.
like crisscross washing line, very unkempt yard. The mom is like in her house coat. Kids, did these kids strike you as greasy?
Yes.
They looked filthy.
At least I read something that said at least Muriel had the wherewithal to fail out of secretarial school. The others were just sitting around.
Right, and her hair was clean, right? Like, she never looked as nasty as her siblings did. Another thing that is very apparent is, like, this is a very, very Australian film. At the time, especially in the 90s, Australian cinema had very distinct styles, techniques that they used. This is the same production studio that made Mad Max.
Gotcha.
One thing Australian cinema will do, and George Miller, if you're familiar with Mad Max, does this, is the frame rate. He'll play with the frame rate. So traditionally we shoot at 24 frames per second. So they'll switch back and forth between 48 FPS and 24 FPS to create different pacing and tensions in scenes. So sometimes you'll notice, like, when someone's really upset, the bridesmaids are talking really fast, they're really upset. That's shot at a different frame rate, and we're perceiving it at a different level of intensity. So I don't know, I don't have an answer in mind for this question, but I thought I would ask you, what do you think the ABBA thing is? The thing with ABBA?
I think it's a young girl obsession, right? Like I think when we were younger, you thought of movie stars as having these, crazy lives that were really great all the time, and nothing bad ever happened to them. It was always, a good time, and I think that that's something that you want to buy into, especially when you have as much hardship as Muriel does, right? You want to be able to escape to a fantasy land where none of this bullshit is happening to you, and
Mhm.
I think that was a big part of it.
And ABBA is so happy and otherworldly. Um, I read in the production notes that they were so dead set on it being ABBA, but ABBA was sort of like, we don't really do that. They were holding out, that the rights weren't even secured until 2 weeks before they started, like, principal photography.
Oh, wow.
So they were, like, gambling big. So it was very important to them, clearly, that it was ABBA. What do you think happens if ABBA is removed from this film? Like, let's say Journey or Foreigner or somebody else. I just don't see it working as well as ABBA did.
Well, I think of that scene when they're in the tropical island at the very beginning, her and Rhonda, where they do the, Waterloo.
Waterloo? Yeah.
Yeah. I think that sets a lot of the character tone. I think that's why we love her so much, because we appreciate all of her faults, and we still care for her as a character,
Yeah.
and I think that it has to do with just the upbeat, never tired, never giving up kind of attitude that she has, because she never gives up, and no matter what
Mhm.
kind of thing faces her, she never gives up. She might not find a respectable way to get out of a situation, but she gets out of them, you
Yeah,
know?
she keeps working the problem.
Yeah.
And that's a very important moment, because right before the getaway, Muriel goes to a little club and meets the other girls there, and the one that got married to Chook is crying, upset, saying she's found out that he's cheating on her, while the woman that he's cheating on her with is sitting there. Muriel knows this, and this whole breakdown occurs. They get really mean to her. They say they're going away, and she goes, "What holiday are you talking about?" And they're like, "Oh, well, maybe now's a good time to tell you that we don't want to be friends with you anymore." They break her heart. They're
Yeah.
so mean to her. They're like, "You're embarrassing to us." What else do they say? Oh, it's something about like her style.
Don't they call her a fat lump?
Yeah, yeah. Which is just kind of a mean attack. But there's something about like they're like, "We like cool things and you don't like cool things." They say, "We listen to Nirvana and you listen to ABBA." And she is dissolving into like hysteric sobs and stuff, and they just keep going. They're like, "You're even embarrassing us right now. Stop crying." And throughout all this, she didn't tell on the girl who was cheating,
Right?
and she was sitting right next to her. I knew that that was what was kind of pregnant in that scene. I was like, okay, we're gonna find out something really important about Muriel. Is she going to sink to the level and spill the beans on this thing that's not her business? Because if she were to do that, it would only be out of meanness. I've known people who've done that, like, "Oh, your ex is or your such and such is cheating on you, and I just care so much about you that I had to tell you about it." No, that's not why you did that.
Yeah.
Because Muriel, like, you would not piss on her if she was on fire.
Right?
So you're not her friend. So if she were to do that, it wouldn't be because she cares about you and you care about her. It would be out of meanness. And so of course she didn't do it because Muriel's not mean. She's not like them.
Right.
Such a cool scene. But she kind of stalks she follows them on the trip.
Well, Rhonda is the one that tells her about the cheating eventually, right? And she does do it
Yeah.
out of meanness.
Rhonda does. And one of the things they say when they're breaking up with Muriel, these mean girls, is you're too weird. You have to go find people that are like you. You got to go find your weirdo. And as horrible of a thing as that is to say, they were right. What was Muriel really getting out of hanging around these mean girls?
Right.
No one has ever been kind to Muriel, though, so she didn't know the difference. But then she does, like, she self finances a trip to the resort they go to and follows them there. And that's how she meets Rhonda, who just changes her world.
Right. Rhonda is one of my favorite characters. I think she's pretty badass.
She is.
She's very sexually fluent and forthcoming, you know. She likes to have a good time. She does not give a shit about telling somebody all about themselves right to their face. She stands up for herself and her friends. Um, and she does what she's like the moral compass throughout the end of the movie.
She's a perfect foil to Muriel, and, I think it was a really savvy way to do this because a lot of times people will think a foil has to be the antagonist. They have to be enemies, they have to be at odds. That's not true. 2 friends can be, like, opposites can attract or whatever. So Rhonda and Muriel have some core things in common, some very important core things in common, but in a lot of ways, they couldn't be more different. Can you believe that this is Rachel Griffith's first movie?
Which one is that? Is that
This
Rhonda?
Mhm. First
No.
acting like, she didn't even do, like, commercials, TV step-up type thing, like,
Wow.
she absolutely knocked it out of the park, like, whoever that casting director was, just they knew, and they were correct.
There was one scene where, the sailors have come back to her house and they're having the sex, and she's there with her little boyfriend or whatever, where he unzips the beanbag instead. Um, and she starts screaming and they come out and they're, like, bending over. Like, there was one little brief scene where she looks at his penis and has a very strong reaction to it. That had to have been real. Like, that had to have been a real reaction. It was too genuine, too
And she
perfect.
dissolved into giggles on this,
Yeah.
like, disintegrating cow print beanbag chair. The styling of this movie is so perfect. But we find out how, like, Muriel has financed this trip to where did they I know they must have given us the name of this resort, but
It was a
I don't
town
really
I'd never heard of, yeah.
no, I don't really care enough to look it up. but her dad gave her mom a blank check to give her to do something.
To buy makeup to sell.
She was supposed to be that's right, she was supposed to be working for Deirdre Chambers,
Yeah.
who they keep running into everywhere, and it becomes apparent that Muriel's dad is having an affair with this woman. So instead of doing that to become an Avon sales lady or whatever it is Deirdre does, she spends $12,000 on this trip. I was gagged. I was like, "Oh, that's different than stealing a dress."
Exactly.
So because of that, she has kind of a rough coming home.
Yeah. But it's still her theme of lying, you know? It's just another way that she is a thief and a liar.
Yeah.
I think that's just a recurring motif through the film, and we still like her. We still like her. We're still sympathetic to her as a character, even though she continually lies, continually does, you know, what I think are bad things. But she's not murdering anyone or killing anyone. But stealing money from your parents isn't, great.
Yeah, and she does eventually pay part of it back, but not all of it, and by that time, a lot of damage has been done. But it kind of I ask myself a lot of questions about, like, why they might do that. Why it's fun to have a flawed protagonist, but those are some serious flaws. And it kinda got me thinking, like, the people I love most dearly in my life have made a lot of mistakes. We've all made a lot of mistakes, and I've thought about this a lot lately with, like, the rise of internet culture and cancel culture and stuff like that. Like, we don't really allow people the space to grow. If the stuff I did in my 20s was documented on TikTok, I don't think I would recover from it,
Right.
and, that would not have given me the opportunity to learn from those mistakes.
Right.
So, at the time this was shot in 1994 in BFE, Australia, right? They are not they're in it's a fictional town.
Porpoise spit. Porpoise spit.
Oh, that's genius.
The jewel of the coast.
Yeah. It reminds me of that quote from The Dark Knight from Heath Ledger that gets used out of context, way too much about how we're totally fine with some terrible behaviors as long as they make sense, as long as they're part of the plan. They're a part of a narrative that we participate in. And so the infidelity and the cheating and the, horrible things that happen to people in romantic relationships, we can make those make sense. But something like stealing $12,000 when, let's be honest, she really didn't seem to know any better.
Well, her dad was taking bribes and stuff. It's kind of like the family business.
Right.
Or lying and thieving.
We have to do a lot to excuse the behavior of shitty straight people in the institution of marriage.
Yeah.
And so we've done that, but we haven't done that around a young, single, traumatized woman who is trying like hell to find something for herself. Why would we ever put any effort into making that narrative have loopholes in it? So she comes back and everyone is, uh,
You're terrible, Muriel.
"You're terrible, Muriel." Yeah, she walks in, sets her bags down, and gets read to filth by her mom, picks the bag up and leaves. I cheered.
I felt a lot of things for her mom. I felt bad for her. I felt sympathetic to her. I felt pain for her. And then when she just dies, I don't know. Every time a mother dies, I have a sympathetic reaction to that because
Yeah.
I've gone through it. Um,
Well, and she doesn't just die. She is gobbled up by an institution that is set against her. Like, the institution of marriage, like, they could not have made it any more clear that the institution of marriage destroys women.
yeah,
Like, the traditional, like, provincial marriage is like, we only ever see her she's dissociating. She's full on dissociating in most of the scenes she's in. There's one scene where she actually comes alive. I think it's at the dinner table in that Chinese restaurant, and Muriel says something like she got a job interview, and Betty, like, snaps to, her face lights up, she starts asking questions about the job interview. We're given that scene, I think, for a lot of reasons. One, to show that Betty is not, that this has been done to her. She's not lacking an interest in her family and things like that. Like, she's not completely gone inside. She's just had to shut down. And also, she's still a good mother. She's still very interested in her children and their wellness. There's a couple of times when she does that.
She's the only one that didn't make direct choices to end up where she ended up. She didn't have any control over it. Everybody
Right.
else made a lot of choices.
That's right. And she represents a generation that did not have any choices.
Yeah.
So because of this, I think Muriel, she runs off to Sydney. She winds up in Sydney. And we find out that she's living in an apartment with Rhonda, working at a video store called Video Drama. She's sitting there watching. She'll put in movies that have weddings in them, fast forward to the wedding, and then just watch that.
I didn't catch that.
It's pretty funny. And I think she was watching Princess Di's wedding too. She had that, like the news coverage of her in the carriage, and she would just wind it back and watch her getting out of the carriage a lot. And that's how she meets Bryce, who I didn't know what was coming with Bryce. And did you have a feeling about what his role in Muriel's story is?
Well, I think it's her first sexual exploit, the first time that she has any kind of that kind of connection with somebody. So I think he was just an experience for her. A big one, right? But an experience nonetheless. I think it
Yeah.
helped her mature a little.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely facilitates some story beats and some growth moments for her, but he's not a plot device.
Right. Yeah, this
Um,
movie was not about revenge. The overall the transformative power of friendship was really the overarching message at the end of the
yeah.
movie.
Oh, that's one of my favorite kinds of story. I absolutely love stories about friendships. But poor Bryce, like, he's not on her wavelength. Nobody's on her wavelength. She can't tell the truth about what her obsession is. She does seem to know, well, she certainly knows that it's not something she can talk openly about. Like, people know she really likes weddings and things, especially back in Porpoise Spit. They know, her family knows about her obsession with weddings. She's hiding it from Rhonda, which I thought was kind of sad. So that she goes out on a date with Bryce, one date with poor Bryce, but they have a lot of chemistry and they have a lot of tolerance for each other. They're both pretty weird.
Right?
And she brings him home and there's no furniture, so they squeeze into this beanbag chair and they start making out, and it's clear they have an actual connection. They really are attracted to each other. All of the weird escapades with unzipping the beanbag, and he has trouble unbuckling her out of this wild, almost BDSM getup she's worn to the club. All kinds of stuff that an American movie might play for semi-misogynistic laughs, but it just kind of endears us to their pairing a little bit more, which ultimately makes it even sadder
Yeah.
when they don't get together, because what she wants, she's not even focused on love. She's thought right past what it might mean to be loved by somebody because she's never been treated well before. She understands weddings as adjacent to love, and that's why she's upset. I'm going to armchair psychologist right now, okay? She understands weddings as adjacent to what people mean when they say love, and so she wants that, but that's as close as she can get to knowing, fully understanding what the experience of being loved might be. And I think Bryce could have loved her. In my mind, maybe they got together later. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't think she was ready for it though. Sometimes you're just not ready for a person when they show up in your life.
Right. Because, like you said, her experience was so minimal in the whole
Yeah.
arena of dating. I mean, this was kind of always going to be Muriel's trajectory. And honestly, it wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Yeah, for sure.
But in this, like, the two sailors that Rhonda has brought back home think that Bryce is attacking her. And Muriel is so dissolved into hysterical giggles at the whole affair, which I had to personally, so relatable. So she's not able to explain that he wasn't attacking her, and so they, fully naked, full frontal naked, begin to like restrain Bryce, and Rhonda comes out and is freaking out. I did not see this coming. Do you remember the first time you saw this? Did you see this coming with Rhonda's injury or whatever, or illness?
No, I saw it when I was 6 or when I was 18. It was my freshman year of college, so I don't remember exactly what I thought, but, I remember it being surprising that
Yeah,
that would be a turn the way the movie would go.
I did not know we were going there. Rhonda stumbles slash against the wall and falls to the floor and tells Muriel that she can't feel her legs. And so we cut to a hospital scene where a doctor is explaining that she's got cancer on her spine. And she says, "Could it be from too much sex?" Which I thought the doctor actually handled really well. He didn't shame her at all. He was like, "No, no, 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 no.
Right.
We don't know what causes it." But this changes things for Muriel and Rhonda. Like, this is a new moment in their relationship, in their friendship.
It takes it to a deeper level, not just surface boys and drama.
That's right. Yeah, they have to face something real together.
Yeah.
And I was, again, just really pleased to see that Muriel was absolutely okay with it. She was reassuring Rhonda. She was like, Rhonda was understandably, after they did the surgery to remove it, she's trying to learn to walk again, and she's extremely upset. She's frustrated. She's embarrassed, I'm sure, and tells Muriel to leave her, to go away and leave her alone because, I don't know, a lot of those things that we tell people when we're really just lashing out, like,
Platitudes.
you hate to see me like this, and you don't deserve this, and things like that. And Muriel's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, the only difference between yesterday and today is that you're yelling at me right now.
Right? So she did know how to be a good friend.
She did. It turns out that she has love to give, and that she can be relied on. What an interesting thing to learn about someone like Muriel, who up until now we really didn't know if she had that gear. So I really loved that scene. Rhonda, though, is still like, I think probably because of Muriel's support, not feeling bad about herself. She's not, she's not giving up, and she's going to her therapy, and a cute guy shows up to take her to her therapy appointment, and she's looking for her cigarettes, and she finds Muriel's book,
Right.
which is we didn't even really talk about this, but Muriel has a secret, which is that she is systematically going to every wedding shop in Sydney, spinning some yarn to the girls in there about how she's about to be married, trying on a dress and all the accessories and things, and then explaining that she needs to take pictures for her sick mother or sister who can't be there, and then making a scrapbook of those pictures.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if I found out someone was doing something like that, I don't think I would feel the same way that Rhonda did. Although we can't blame Rhonda for reacting any kind of way because of the situation she's under a lot of stress.
Yeah.
But she kind of gets angry at Muriel.
But I felt more bad for her. Like, you want something so badly and you can't have it that you're to this point of obsession with it. Because that's when it's cutting into your real life. That takes time to do that,
She's taking time off work. She's closing down the video store.
Yeah. It's an investment just as much as anything else. And to keep it to yourself like that because it's crazy, you know?
Or is it? I mean, that's another. I mean, it's more of her lying, right? She's not stealing anymore. She's not bringing the dresses home, but she's stealing the labor of these people who spend a day with her, or at least hours, dressing her up. So it's just a continuation of the same things that she's been doing, but there's the guilt of it that she's experiencing, or clearly experiencing, that has to be compounding in some way.
Right.
And it made me think of something we talk about in my therapy school, of like, if you feel a certain way about yourself or something you're dealing with, try to step outside yourself and ask, like, if I saw somebody else dealing with that, would I be talking to them the same way I'm talking to myself about it? There was a moment in time where Muriel maybe could have shared this obsession with Rhonda and had a different kind of experience around exploring it or dealing with it or finding out what it might be pointing to in her. But she didn't, because she was ashamed of it. Rhonda just drives past where Muriel is and confronts her about it.
Right. She happens to see her in the shop doing it. Little little liberty taken there.
Yeah. Sydney's a big place, y'all. And Muriel has this breakdown. Oh, hasn't she started going by Mariel at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
When she
timeline
gets,
on that.
yeah, when she goes to Sydney is when she changes it.
Yeah. And that's a kind of a moment where the movie draws a parallel to, or tells us a little bit more about why she's so obsessed with weddings, because she sees them as a rebirth. She sees this ritual as a way to become someone that she doesn't hate as much as she hates the current version of herself. I mean, like, to bring something that heavy and real into a movie like Muriel's Wedding, a movie like the one we've been experiencing up until now, both Rhonda's illness and Muriel's breakdown and her insights into kind of why she hates her or that she hates herself. I was so shocked that it worked, that they were able to do that and it didn't break the movie. It didn't, I don't like, it kind of break our trust in the world building at all. It felt really earned with Muriel in that moment, the moment where she realizes that like this really has gone kind of far and whatever is inside it is unhealthy. And she says like, I hate myself. Like I want to be different because I hate the way I am. And I was just like, good God, this poor baby. And Rhonda's still angry with her.
I think that Rhonda just felt like she was being lied to because she was lying by admission,
Hmm.
by not saying that she was doing these things or even talking about like it's an investment of your time and your energy and your resources, and she's totally keeping it from her, and they were supposed to be sharing everything. So I kinda get it.
The amount of things that Rhonda has had to let go in terms of her barriers, her boundaries. She doesn't get to have any boundaries with Muriel. Muriel has to help her shit and shower and
Yeah,
stuff. An immense amount of trust goes into allowing someone to care for you. And to find out that that trust has not been reciprocated, yeah, that would hurt, and it would be
yeah,
embarrassing. I think that was one reason why she was angry was to find out that she was not experiencing the closeness that she thought she was
right.
with this friend. Yeah, I could see that definitely hurting. I'm drawing a blank. Where do we go next after that?
I think that's when she goes into the personal ads and finds the swimmer.
Right. Yeah, she's looking at this men magazine and sees an ad for I think it was basically this is how not how it was worded, but what what I gleaned was like young woman with pulse needed.
And passport and citizenship.
Yeah. Which is crazy to advertise in a paper.
Yeah.
I don't know how Australia deals with their immigration fraud schemes, but can you imagine doing that here? She shows up to this natatorium and meets a South African swimmer, has the wildest interaction with the coach and the swimmer. Like I loved the way they did this, but I was so uncomfortable.
Yeah, because more lying and scheming, and she's just taking part in it like it's anything else.
She was she was like turned on by it. She loved the lying and scheming.
But
Um
she loved the being married part, I think.
right. Like, oh my God, you mean somebody else is out here scheming for marriage? Like she had found her fellow weirdo, but he was revolted by her.
Yeah,
The way Tony Collette played it, and the way it was written and shown to us, it wasn't about her looks or anything like that. It was about her unhinged behavior.
right. But he comes around.
They have the sweetest little arc, and I wanted to bring this up. So like they arrange it, and she is like just can't stop giggling. She's making this really unhinged face that only Tony Collette could make. She kept sticking her tongue out at him. Did you notice that?
No.
Multiple times she went like that. It's weird.
She was just anticipating selfie culture.
Maybe, yeah. What I saw it as is like she just could not keep her excitement inside.
Right,
Also, it was a little bit like a wink, and so that's what makes me think that like she was seeing this as like we're on the same wavelength here. You've got the same fetish for weddings. Here we are, and it's supposed to be some like stand in front of the magistrate and sign papers, but no, Muriel is gonna get her fucking wedding.
right.
And I love this for her. She
Yeah.
just had her day.
I think my favorite part of the whole wedding is when they're leaving and when the bridesmaid that had gotten married at the very beginning of the field, she says, "I'm beautiful," and she makes the ugliest possible face. I think that was a really good.
The framing on that's a great example of that Australian cinema style.
Yeah.
It was that was perfect. But yeah, those girls, because of the marriage, Muriel becomes famous, tabloid
Mhm.
famous, but
Right.
she sees it as fame. And she was like, "Look at me now." And it's like, "No, you really think this is great?"
Yeah.
Because again, she's got nothing to compare it to.
But it's kind of a weird from a personal standpoint because I was married to a gay man and we had no physical relationship whatsoever. It was 100% a scam. there's a weird place within that relationship paradigm. Like, my ex-husband bought me a wife Valentine's Day card one time, because I was his wife and, but then I took his name and that became a thing. And it's just a really weird relationship when you're doing a lie with somebody like that. It's a
Yeah.
weird relationship place to be in.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up because one not question I had, because I do think I have my own opinion about this, but this film is often considered a kind of a queer story. Like you'll see this alongside other queer films that don't actually have queer characters in them that that are considered influential. An American example would be something like Death Becomes Her.
Right,
Like things that had a big impact on queer culture but did not have queer characters. I would definitely put this one in here for a number of reasons, but that's a great one right there, what you just articulated. It's like this film is an attack on heteronormativity.
right.
Because of the things we've been talking about, Muriel understands that weddings do not equal love, do not equal happy marriage, do not equal even they are literally just anti-woman capitalist schemes at their core. That is not to say that a wedding can't be a great moment for two people who do love each other. It's not to say that people shouldn't have weddings or get married for that matter, but they're as often a tool as they are a toy.
Right.
And queer people know that. They know that story. And in a lot of ways, the way Muriel approaches weddings is very queer. And something doesn't have to be queer to not be heteronormative. I want to make this very clear. Straight people, cis people, perfectly capable of not perpetuating heteronormativity and heteroessentialism. And so
Yeah.
this is a really great tool or just something interesting to show those people, to show like straight people. She interacts with her father at this point, and it's so hard for me to say Deirdre. I know that's what they say, but I'm just gonna say Deirdre. She just point blank says like, "Are you leaving, mom? And are you with Deirdre now?" And so they say yes. And so her mom gets kind of iced out of the wedding.
Right.
She arrives late. Muriel doesn't notice her. She's genuinely excited for Muriel, and she doesn't get to share the day with her, and it kind of breaks her heart. And then her dad takes that moment, I guess, to tell her like, yeah, we're gonna divorce, and her mom commits suicide,
Yeah.
which is another story beat where I was like, holy fucking hell.
And they just swept it under the rug. That was really the important part, I think.
Yes.
She wasn't even important enough to be real about how she died.
Right. They said that she had a heart attack or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
And they hid it from even the dad. They were like, oh, he doesn't need to know that. At this wedding, at her wedding, she also reconnects with Rhonda for the first time, and they have kind of another argument where Rhonda kind of tells her about herself in the same way that she had done the other woman who kind of had it coming. Muriel handles it differently, though. She just kind of takes it as information and says, okay, this is my life now. She was like, I bought you a ticket to go back home and stuff like that.
Abandoning her.
Yeah. But then Muriel finds out about her mom's death after that, goes to the funeral, and has kind of a coming to Jesus moment, for lack of a better phrase. It kind of went fast for me. What do you think went on for her at this funeral, at her mom's funeral?
I glossed through that part a little bit, to be honest with you.
I bet. Yeah.
It brings up a lot of bad memories. Not bad memories, just memories.
Yeah. Well, she had a reaction, a strong emotional reaction, and kind of a panic attack is what it looks like happened to her, and she runs out of the church to find, I don't remember his name, the swimmer. Was it Chris?
I'm thinking like Steve or Sean or Rick or
Well, um,
some strong man name.
David.
David.
Yeah. So she finds him standing on the porch of this church in the rain, and he turns around and says her name like very sweetly, and it's clear that he's worried about her. He's sad for her,
Yeah.
which was such a cool. I didn't see that coming either.
Yeah. We just thought he was this dick that was using her for to meet ends, But it turns out he's a little bit human too, and that's like you said, I didn't expect that either, that he would come around.
Well, Muriel kind of wears you down, you know? Like, again, she can make every mistake in the world, but something about her is so lovable and defensible and relatable. I think that he had spent enough time with her at that point to just begin to see her for who she was, and then she has this dreadful thing happen. So he goes to comfort her. They have a real, like, actual connection, and they wind up sleeping together, which the first real love we see between a married couple in this movie is in a sham marriage.
Right,
That's what felt queer to me. That's what
right,
felt anti-heteronormative. It felt anti the institution of marriage,
right.
and they pull it off. You know, it could have felt stupid and weird and contrived, and it didn't. It felt like, okay, yeah, I can see that happening. I thought about. I mean, that's kind of how the movie. It's not how it ends. Muriel, the sort of releasing tension begins at this point. You know that word denouement, the French word.
No.
It is. I find it difficult to pronounce, but it just means untying the knot, and that's the word for the end part of a movie, where the big climaxes happen and characters find themselves in a position where they're able to move forward towards the end of the story, and we begin to see tension easing. So the denouement begins after this scene with the high stress of the funeral and stuff. And she leaves him. She leaves David, even though they clearly have an attraction and something like that. And he understands
She finally comes clean.
to herself
Yeah, and she realizes that she deserves more than just a lie, I think.
the lie of marriage or
Yeah,
weddings, maybe.
yeah,
She does go back to Porpoise Spit to do something. She's got to give her dad, she gives him part of the money that she stole from him. And he thinks she's going to stay and raise the other kids, her
yeah.
sibling.
And he's like, "What am I supposed to do?"
Have you thought about parenting them?
Right?
Which she kinda says, and even this didn't go a way that it could have done, right? This they could have treated this like a big he gets what he deserves, and they have a big blowout and say she tells him about himself the way maybe Rhonda would, but that's still not how Muriel is. She tells him what he needs to do to go forward, but she doesn't blame him for her mother's death. She doesn't, in that moment anyway, make him reckon with how horribly he's treated her and her siblings. She just sort of says, like, "You, this is what you've got to do from now on because you're a fucking parent."
Yeah, she does. She turns it back on him. She doesn't even for a minute entertain the idea that she might stay, which
Incredible.
I love. That's great. That's a change, I think, from the way things used to be.
Absolutely. She's still weirdo Muriel, but she has become a new version of herself, which is what she wanted. And she's become a version of herself that is more capable of having adult relationships. Um, she's m- more suited to being the friend to her dad that he's going to need as he goes forward with parenting what are essentially grown, emotionally stunted children who are going to need a lot of mentorship and support as they go into adulthood with zero skills or knowledge of
Right.
how to do that.
Or a mother.
Or a mother. Like, he basically stunted them so badly, he's starting from zero with parenting these practically grown people. Like, he's got his work cut out for him, and he deserves that.
Right.
And she's got one last thing to do, right? Which is swing by and pick up Rhonda.
Right. Which is exactly how this movie should have ended. Like, I would have been pissed with any other ending. It wouldn't have been the same movie with a different ending.
At any point when you first were watching this, did you think that this was going to become a queer relationship with Muriel and Rhonda? Like, say, when they first met?
I was not open to queer ideology when I
I
first watched
see.
this movie. I was still in the closet, hadn't even really come out to myself yet,
That
my
makes
freshman
sense.
year. Yeah. I was on the verge of it. That summer is when I came out to myself and everything started. You know, I with my parents owning a porn shop, I really stayed away from everything sexuality related for a long
Mhm.
time. So I don't think I thought in those kinds of terms. But I see it now for sure.
I could, but I also, like, I don't wanna jump to that because I think we do that too I don't wanna say too often. I think sometimes we do that and forget what else could be there, but there certainly was that possibility in the atmosphere that first night when Rhonda and Muriel do their Waterloo performance, and then they get really lit after that and just party the rest of the night, and they're lying under the stars together. And it is romantic, but not inherently sexual.
Right. I thought of my relationship with my best friend who's a straight woman.
Hmm.
I've seen her naked when she was
Yeah.
really drunk, and she's seen me naked. But there's nothing. We've been best friends since 1999, and there's nothing sexual between us, even a little bit. You know.
And that is something that homophobia has done. Homophobia, heterosexism has done to us, which is we will look right past the romance of friendship.
Right.
We did this in the 19th century in my research into 19th century American masculinity. Herman Melville, if you want to read all of his stuff, you can read it through that lens. But you would be missing the point if you didn't also take into account it's called homosociality, so not homosexuality, but the particular or specific kind of romantic friendship that can happen between two people of the same gender.
Like Boston marriages.
Yeah, kind of like truly non-sexual Boston
Yeah.
marriages. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell the listeners what that is in case they don't know.
That is when generally it was women, two women would live together, and it would be a non-sexual relationship of two friends that were together and would assume themselves as married, but they were two women. So it was a very early precursor to gay marriage, but it wasn't necessarily sexual.
A lot of times they could be widows. A Boston marriage was kind of a marriage of convenience in that they were not permitted to own property. They weren't allowed to work. So say you find yourself a single woman and you have certain responsibilities or even heavens, kids, they were kind of like villaging, getting their shit taken care of, right? Because they just weren't enough hours in the day for everything women had to do with the things that they were disenfranchised from. So sometimes it could just simply be that. And other times a couple ladies just thought like, actually, I'll pass on men. And it like not wanting to marry a man isn't the same as being queer.
Right.
So I was thinking about that when I was thinking about Rhonda and Muriel, like the the romance of homosociality. And like this is what we famously rob cis straight men of under patriarchy and heterosexism, right? We don't afford them the necessary closeness of their peers without sort of slathering on this veneer of shame or secrecy that they can't be affectionate or vulnerable with other men. And it does shit to them. I don't know if I can prove that, but I feel like I see that.
I mean, just watch the news for 5 minutes.
Watch sports.
Yeah, there's lots of examples of what you're talking about.
The lengths they have to go to feel something. Talk
Yeah.
about needing to make it make sense, right? The stuff that just a regular any given cis straight man in America has to go through just to be allowed or afforded the privilege of feeling something. It's crazy.
Besides anger.
Yeah, besides anger. Well, I guess that brings us to the end of Muriel's wedding, but clearly we could talk forever about this.
So you liked the movie?
Absolutely loved it. Yeah, no notes. I mean, besides all the copious notes I took. But yeah, I almost watched it again because we had to delay recording a day, and I was like, well, what if and I was like, no, that's not a good idea. You shouldn't, like, there is such a thing as being over prepared.
Right.
I definitely will watch it again. It's such a cool way to like tell a story like this, really unusual story, and raise and answer so many complex questions.
Yeah. With ABBA as the theme.
It's so cool. I know that there would be more to say, but Jesus, I gotta get this edited somehow. But, listeners, let us know if have you seen this movie before? Have you seen Muriel's Wedding? What was your experience like? Would you compare this movie to any other movie you've seen or know of?
That's a good question.
It reminds me a little of Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion.
There you go. That's a good one.
Very much like two besties fixated on something that actually doesn't prove the thing that they think it does.
Right.
I watched that movie every weekend for my whole senior year of high school.
Oh, wow.
Romeo and Michelle was...
Get the Mary.
Do you have it at businesswomen's discounts? We're businesswomen. She invented Post-its.
Yeah. I've seen that movie about 100 times.
Yeah. So good.
I'm the Mary.
Yes, this was awesome. How did you feel about reviewing your first movie?
It was fun. I was nervous because I didn't know if I took the right notes or whatever. But I think I did okay. I think
Well, thank you.
I think I pointed out some good points.
Yeah.
I think it's just a skill like anything else that I'll have to sharpen.
Honestly, I think you did great. For your first time doing it, like, the worst thing you can do is be too nervous to say anything. Because there's nothing wrong with making an observation. Hell, we're not
Right.
doing surgery.
This is not rocket surgery.
Nope, not rocket surgery or brain science. Yet. Would do again. This was very fun. I love talking about movies with other people who like talking about movies, and it's nice that there are so many of those people out there. We have still a bunch to choose from, but if this sparked anything in your mind that you want to suggest for us to add to the list, let us know. You can email us at mailbag@queernecks.com. Did we miss something? Have you seen Muriel's Wedding and you were like, God, I can't believe they didn't say such and such? Let us know that too. Do you know somebody that Muriel's Wedding is their favorite movie? Send this episode to them. We would love to meet some new friends. Leave us a review if you haven't, and follow us /subscribe depending on where you listen. That helps us out a lot. And we'll see you when we see you. Say hi to your mom and them.
Bye.